Hello, welcome to the Logcast. I'm your host, David Jones. We're here once again with another special Rare Trip episode, our fourth one. I'm joined today, as always, by my co-hosts, Kev Rose.
All right, mate.
Jephren Perez.
Hello, hello.
And Amir from Rare Thief.
Yo, yo, yo.
And Steve from Rare Gamer.
A yo-ho-ho.
A yo-ho-ho?
Yar.
A yo-ho-ho. And a bottle of
rum.
Yeah.
So, we're still doing these interviews, and this will probably only do one more after this, so I'm sorry if you guys are getting bored of this yet, because I'm not getting bored with doing these. So, I apologize if so. But anyway, we'll think that we're going to kind of give a little opening sort of to Steve and Amir, and just give them a chance to talk a little bit about their websites, because they have websites. So maybe if you could just talk a little bit about how you guys got into the Rare community and how you got involved with the websites, and just kind of give a little self-plug as well. Whichever one of you wants to go first. It's up to you.
I guess I can go alphabetically. If that works.
Alphabetically? All right. It's on you.
Cool. So, I started, I think I'm mainly known for my rare collection, my rare collection.
Mm-hmm.
But how I got started with the website thing was I was really really on the Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts forums. I don't know how active you guys were, but there was this competition to I can't remember what it was exactly, but I ended up making a website for my entry, and that was Rare Minion. And then from there, I just started posting stuff randomly that I would experience. I went to go play Connect Sports when it first came out, and then just posting videos of games I would get a hold of as I was collecting stuff. And that kind of turned into Rare Minion, and that's where I would just upload everything I was doing. And then around E3 last year, or actually when Killer Instinct was announced, I joined up with Daniel, who also went on this trip with us for Killer Instinct Central, and then teamed up with his website for RareFanDaBase. And then with Sea of Thieves coming out, I kind of rebranded Rare Minion to be Rare Thief, so I could do what I've always been doing, but also cover Sea of Thieves news. So yeah.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that you worked for RareFanDaBase too. I wasn't exactly sure how that worked, if you were a contributor or a staff member, or what exactly your role was there.
Yeah, I just help write stuff with Daniel and help cover the news.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you have a massive Rare collection from what I've heard, and I've seen pictures here and there. And I think that you should do an updated 2016 video of your collection, because I don't think it's been a while since you posted it all, has it?
Yeah, I definitely need to.
Post E3 trips.
Yeah, I probably have about
Rare.
200 or so more items. Yeah, I definitely need to do an update video. It's pretty hard to get that video I had of everything in that room. That still wasn't everything. I just need to find I need to rent out studio space and just put it all out there.
Yeah. What's really impressive, I think, is when you collect something so niche as this, is because all that stuff is so hard to find, and then you have so much of it.
Yeah. I applied for the Guinness World Book of Records a couple times, but it keeps saying that it is too of a specialized topic, and they're also worried about Rare not owning some of the IP, so the Donkey Kong stuff would overflow into somebody's largest Donkey Kong collection. So yeah, I don't know if it'll ever happen, but I apply every year. It's just
Nice.
Good man.
Yeah.
Good.
As far as we're concerned, you're the Guinness Book World Record holder. Awesome.
Yeah.
You want to go now, Steve?
Yeah, sure. So this history is kind of like a mirror where there's a lot of rebranding going on. So I originally joined a site, it was called Spiral Mountain in 2005, spiralmountain.co.uk. And it was run by two brothers named Paul and Luke Morgan. And they had started the site from the ground up, and it was basically just a celebration of the Banjo-Kazooie games. And as I joined and as we went on and improved as a site, we eventually wanted to encompass all of Rare. So we went from going from just Banjo-Kazooie to all of the Rare games. So it became Rare Archives after that. And then from that point on, we rebranded finally as Rare Gamer. So that's how we exist today. So we kind of went from just Banjo-Kazooie, then to going all of past Rare games, kind of like an archive, just old history stuff. And now we're kind of Rare Gamer, where it's we have a focus on the history of Rare, but also the future of Rare.
Nice.
So, yeah, kind of just up and up and up.
I'll admit that I kind of lost a little bit track of the fan sites after Rare and Extreme and Mondo Rare went down.
Yeah.
And then I kind of just I was still, I would still browse the sites, but wasn't really nearly as active in the Rare community. And then I kind of came back with my own thing in last year.
Yeah.
So, it's so great that, there's still people carrying the torch, and then the community is just returning in a big way these last couple years. And
Yeah, absolutely. And especially the change, like, I've been with Spiral Mountain now for, it's got to be 11 years at this point, and just seeing the change in that tiny bit of time, because I know Chad and Heil, they've had their site for, like, almost 20 years now. So the changes they must have seen, just, sites coming in, blipping off the radar, like, in and out kind of thing. But even in 10 years, like, I've seen sites just, huge mega sites, like even stuff like Rare Witch Project that used to be, the site kind of thing, and now they're faded into, a little bit less now, and it's kind of weird to see which sites have kind of gone on and which sites have kind of faded and come back, and it's interesting.
I know, yeah, it is. I know Rare Witch Project is kind of active on Twitter now, so maybe they're kind of coming back. I don't know.
They seem pretty interested in Sea of Thieves, but yeah.
Yeah.
Can
Mondo
I
Rare is
just ask-
technically still up.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
that's true.
Rare World Central is Banjo's backpack now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, Steve. You
Yeah.
know, Spiral Mountain.
Yep. The physical location or the website?
Yeah, the original website.
Yeah.
When did you actually rebrand to Rareware Archives?
Oh God, I want to say like 2009 to 10, somewhere around there.
Oh, okay, that makes sense. Because I actually remember occasionally browsing spiralmountain.co.uk like years ago, but I couldn't remember when, and I never actually knew. Like I knew Rare Gamer used to be Spiral Mountain, but I didn't know you were Rareware Archives as well.
Yep.
Like I completely missed that jump because I was kind of, much like Dave, I was kind of out of the community for a while, so I didn't even realise it was all the same site.
Right, yeah, I didn't realize either of those connections. I do remember Spiral Mountain, though, but I didn't realize that that's what Rare Gamer emerged from. Awesome. So, you guys are both longtime community people, and yeah, there was I think there was some kind of contest and trip that you guys got invited to.
Yeah, something like that.
Something like that happened.
Something weird.
Did you do an entry for the contest, Steve? And
I
don't.
started out going to. I was going to make a like a Captain Bones graphic novel, but
Oh, that would have been awesome.
yeah, I kind of overreached myself in terms of the planning of that and stuff. I can tell you the plot. Basically, it was going to be a pirate that came into Captain Bones' cave kind of thing, like looking for the treasure of Captain Bones. And he walks into a cave and he sees the corpse of Captain Bones, which I still have a drawing of. I should upload it at some point. I just really quick just penciled it in. And there's a treasure chest right in his lap. And he kind of sneaks up to it, opens the chest, and then he sees there's a Sea of Thieves game case inside. And you see his face reacting like, oh! And he reaches forward, and then you just see a skeleton arm come down, grab his hand, and like, hey, hands off, So, that was the intention, but the ambition it was way over my head in the end. I was like, this is going to take weeks, and I've got a few days.
Right, yeah. I remember my goal with my entry was just to, I need to do something in basically 3 days because I want to be one of the first. Of course, I didn't end up winning, but it was still... I think, considering that I did the whole thing in, the span of 3 days, I think mine was fairly impressive.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I mean, all
For
the
sure.
location filming.
Yeah, I know. I spent a whole day. I think I wrote it one day, shot it one day, and then edited it the next, or something like that.
Yeah.
Dang.
Well, I did mine in 2 days, so
Yeah.
screw you, Dave.
Well, it's kind of funny, too, going through the entries, because I remember the first day that when Rare announced that there was already people trying to get into it really quick. And, of course, the thing
Yeah,
with getting into it really
Photoshop.
quick is you're going to have a lot of really rushed entries. And there was some people, they went to a masquerade ball as a pirate one time, and they're just like, yeah, I'll repost this picture and just try and play it off. And it's like, well, we can see there's, a timestamp of 2009 on the photo, dude. No one's falling for that.
Yeah,
So-
I remember.
Yeah.
I remember there was a really good musical piece that someone submitted. I was like, man, this is really good.
Yeah, I
and I
remember
looked
that.
at the uploaded 2014. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
Well, I remember, too, looking at Jeffren's entry, because that was one of the ones that came in. And the other ones I was looking at, I'm going oh, there's still time. I can beat this. And then I saw Jeff's entry. I'm like, well, there's one gone. So
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I think everyone felt that way. I remember when Jeff uploaded his video, and there was a bunch of people on DK Vine said, like, instantly said, "Yep, he's won."
Yeah.
Like, there was just no question in our mind.
Yeah.
Like, Jeff had a place.
Yeah. I'm
I
thinking
pretty
when,
much knew you won because I don't think any other video was immediately sort of commented on by Rare. Even though they didn't say it was you, but like literally like minutes, I don't know if it was minutes, but like that same day you uploaded it, I always saw this stuff on people on Rare employees' Twitter accounts like, man, just watch this great entry. Couldn't stop laughing and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, Jeff's won.
Yeah, I think like Bobby tweeted about it and like Paul Matacek tweeted about it. They were like, "Oh, some real high quality stuff coming in," and it was like the only one that had come in that morning.
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh, no, that's mine."
So at what point did you pick up the phone and like call your boss like, I'm gonna need some time off here to go to England?
Well, I mean, it was like 4 days later I found out I won, so
nice.
pretty much asked for the time off immediately. I was like, well, it's gonna be between now and June, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
And it was.
Nice. Yeah, because did they give you they didn't even give you the dates right away, or did they not?
Like a week later, and then they changed it, so
Yeah.
that was tricky.
Yeah.
That was tricky.
Hopefully, everyone's bosses was very accommodating. Hopefully.
Yeah, for me it was easy, but yeah, I can imagine for some people it may have been a pain.
Well, I mean, it was lucky for Jackie because it had been the first time she was leaving Canada, and she literally got her passport on the last possible day to get it. So if they hadn't have pushed the date back, she wouldn't have made it.
Oh wow.
What would they have done
that was
in that
crazy.
situation? Like, what would they have done? Would they have had to like pick another winner, or just like deal with just 5 winners and 6 super fans?
I don't know what Rare would do at that point.
I don't think they would have been able to do anything. I mean, maybe they could have found a local winner like Kev Rose or something.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that would actually probably would have asked Kev or Paul. Because who else could make it there on that short notice?
Maybe they could have included Mandy, but
Yeah.
because she was part of the video. But I don't know.
They're gonna go to Mandy and be like, "We're gonna call you Jackie from now on, and you're gonna nod, okay?"
Be your
Smile and
best
pretend to
Canadian
draw.
accent in the video.
Just say A after everything, all right?
That's how it works, right?
Talk about your struggles with spilling milk on the bag and stuff like that.
That's the first thing I did when I got to Rare, actually.
Yeah.
They're like, "How are you enjoying Rare?" I'm like, "The milk spilling." They're like, "What?"
Oh man. So, with those Canadian jokes out of the way, I apologize, Steve.
1 of 100.
Yeah, 1 of 100.
There'll be more. Don't worry.
How about the
Well,
cold?
that's cool that there's like 3 Canadians on the trip.
Yeah, well, actually, it's funny because I found out Sebastian is he's not locally close to me, but close enough that we could be like, "Hey, I'm going to meet down here and I'll see you in 3 hours," and like actually meet up kind of thing. So
Right.
that'll be
Yeah, that's pretty
interesting if we
cool.
can pull that off, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm about from Toronto. I'm about 6 hours.
Oh,
I was
yeah.
actually talking with Mike and Sebastian about if there's ever something sort of locally in that area, we all might be able to go together.
Well, if they
But-
do X16, that'll definitely be the place to be.
Yeah, if they would just like not announce it like a week before, so I can get time off work.
Well, I think that's more or less like Xbox Canada, because they kind of announced it coming out of the gate as well. I don't think anybody planned for it, really.
It's like I think it's their way to try to keep non-Canadians out. 'Cause
Yeah,
I know that only
exactly.
local people will go.
They do a
Well,
check at
same
the
thing
door.
happened with E3 Live, didn't they? They only announced E3 Live like 2 weeks before E3.
Yeah, they announced
Yeah.
it while we were at Rare. Because I remember you were posting or talking about it, and I asked Bobby, I was like, "Are you guys going to be doing anything with that?" He's like, "I don't even know what that is."
Well, did you actually hear in the end like what was at E3 Live?
No,
It was like-
one thing or something. I don't know.
Oculus Rift, Lego Force Awakens, and one other thing. There was only 3 games there.
Jeez.
I wasn't Battlefield 1 there. I thought there was some EA stuff there. So I heard.
See, I asked Andrew, and he said there was only like 3
Feel like-
big things there, and then like there was a few mini things, but like nothing you could like play. There was just like a bunch of rolling demos, and
Yeah, I feel like
I don't
EA
know.
kept all their stuff like to their own thing. Like I don't think they wanted to be quote unquote in E3 anything. They kinda had
E3 is
their
too
own.
good for E3 now.
EA, yeah.
It's too exclusive. That's what the E stands for.
Yeah.
Right.
So they throw their own exclusive event.
Yeah.
Invite less people.
That'll work. Welcome to Hipster E3.
Starring Peter Moore and microtransactions. All right. I've lost track of how we got this far in this conversation.
Yeah, I don't know.
Well, you have to ask Steve about if he did an entry.
Oh, yes.
That was like 20
Awesome.
minutes ago.
Cool. All right. Yeah, because we were talking about entries. I know we got really derailed there. Amir, you did 2 entries. You want to talk about those real quick?
Yeah. So the first one was the trying to turn my car into a pirate ship. It looks way better in my head, but it was really hard to get a lot of those. What's it called? Cardboard boxes. Thank you, Amazon Prime, for all those boxes. But yeah, so I did that. Did the whole modern pirate living in a modern day kind of thing. And then as the weeks went on, I noticed that was like a lot of people's entry, and I was feeling less and less confident. And then I was noticing that most of the videos that were really good, I was like, man, people are doing stuff that they're good at. Like, what do I do? I was like, okay, I'm a web developer, so I can make like an HTML5 game. And I asked Rare, it says it has to be an image or a video. Could I do something like this? And like, well, if you record yourself playing the game, that would count. Like, I was like, that's not very exciting. So then I kind of turned it into like this infomercial thing for the game that I was making. So that's like
I loved the infomercial bit. Awesome. Like, that was so funny.
See, I even thought your first one was good, especially the last part where you're going through the drive-through.
Yeah, at Burger King. Yeah, they were not happy about that. I rolled up in the car ship, and immediately 2 people came out and like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, "Oh, we're just gonna film something in the parking lot," and they're like, Okay. And so they all go back inside, but you can see like 10 employees like up against the window, like hearing about what was about to happen. I was like, okay, we got to get this shot done. And so like my wife sets up the tripod, and I go up there and we do 3 takes like back to back. And 2 of them were automatically like we couldn't use because other people were coming up to the car, taking pictures on the camera phone and asking me about it. I was like, I'm trying to do something here, people. Like, but luckily one came out, and we just bailed, got out of there as soon as it was done.
Oh man,
that's
have been
funny.
Something to see.
I had that same problem when I was filming mine. People kept like driving up to me on the beach, and, like stopping to ask what I was doing. Like, I'm filming, dude.
Yeah, I had a couple people say things. Some lady who was jogging wanted to get her picture taken with me when I was on the pier.
So funny.
Yeah, and then when I was shooting the part where I was like kind of like looking sad on the rock, like someone who walked by and was just like, "Ahoy!"
Way to kill the mood.
How crushed would you be if they had invited the person that yelled that to Rare?
I'd be like,
like a star of the video.
Like, post it to YouTube and put the hashtag. I came across this random pirate down at Lake Michigan today.
Yeah, someone filmed me making my video, and then that video won.
That'd be pretty meta.
Yeah, that'd be so meta. And then I could film myself watching that video and then submit that and
do a reaction video.
Yeah. Like a video within a video within a video.
Yeah, I think Leonardo DiCaprio might be the next one to film that one.
Yeah.
Start spinning a top.
And then I get a lawsuit from Christopher Nolan. Cool. All right. I guess that probably about covers it. Yeah. Bravo. You guys. Well, you did 2 videos. Steve did none, and you both still got to go. So you guys. Yeah. You guys want to kind of talk about that, like how you felt when you found out you were going?
I could not stop punching the air for one thing. Like, I saw it in my email, like just the title of it alone, and immediately I was like, no way. Like, just, like everything that I was working on at that point, I think I had something for work that I was doing, and I just stopped, full stop, and went, no. And I clicked on the email, and of course it opened up, and I'm reading through it, and like, as I'm going through, I'm not even really comprehending like the words individually. I'm just smiling wider and wider, and then I screamed yes. I punched the air so many times, and like, oh, I was just absolutely beside myself with joy. I'm like, this is amazing. Oh, my dreams are coming true.
Were you at work at the time?
No, thankfully I wasn't.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, that's going to get a few likes.
That would have made that story so much better.
It would have been funny. People just working downstairs, like there's just phone calls going off, and all of a sudden you just hear like, yeah! Like just upstairs. You're like, what the hell was that?
Oh, man.
Amir?
I was at a Starbucks, so not at work, but a little bit in public when I found out. But I mean, yeah, not so. That wasn't punching the air because I knew I was in public, but I had a definitely crazed smile on my face that would not stop, my face was hurting because I like just constant smiling. I could not believe it. It was really surreal. I like it. I think a couple of us were saying, it didn't really hit us even until we were actually there, like in the UK.
Yeah.
I could not believe that it actually happened. Like it all felt like a dream.
Yeah, the bus ride over especially.
Oh.
Because I remember the closer we got to Twycross, the more silence everybody like on the bus, and then it's like, no, this is actually happening right now. We were all just freaking out in our own, like, you could tell everybody was thinking 1,000 things in their head and saying none of it. So.
Yeah, that video that Mandy and Sebastian shot of that entryway into Rare was amazing. Like,
Yeah.
Not being there, it's hard not to feel like excited and emotional about it. Just sort of, reliving it through those videos. It's amazing.
Yeah, I don't know how many times I've gone back and like when I went through to Rare, I was like, I think the third one in after Jeff and Mandy, but I ended up recording just the initial applause stuff, and I was the only one to do so. So I keep on revisiting that one clip over and over, being like, yes.
Yeah. I've watched that clip so many times.
I was terrible. I was
write-in.
too excited in the moment to film anything. I felt bad because
Same.
we have like this group photo collection, and I like had some of the least photos because I was just so bad about taking pictures and videos, just because I was like so in it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, luckily, like so many others did. Like I didn't take as many on purpose because I knew Mandy was, but like, I mean, obviously you didn't have your wife.
Yeah, Mandy was really good at
like,
vlogging.
Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah, she got so much good footage and pictures.
Yeah. Well, it's funny too because I remember Bobby walked up to me after, like, on the second day that we went in, and he's like, "Yeah, we were talking about just having you do the whole documentary." So I'm like, "Oh, okay." Use my footage.
Wow. Yeah, I assumed that in addition to the fan stuff that like Emma or someone would probably put something together, but I guess it's kind of going to be a fan thing.
Well, they had the
don't know.
fan interviews, but nothing like they did all that stuff obviously, and they've used. I saw in Amir's clip, for instance, they had that one shot above the third story looking down. So they'll probably release more as time goes on, but or some of it might be internal as well. I'm not sure what they plan to do with it, but
Yeah, because I just noticed in some of the clips that I've seen, it looked like who I believe was Emma looked like she was following some people with a camera on a couple times. So I was like, oh, maybe they're shooting something. But maybe I was imagining it. I don't know. But anyway, I'm excited to see it all.
oh yeah, for sure. Well, I know she was kind of like the tour guide for some of the stuff, because I remember when she toured us around, she was like kind of at the front, like showing it off and stuff. So they had people tailing behind with cameras as well, which was really cool.
Yeah.
It kind of
I mean, they
keeps
filmed
that as
the
like
entire thing.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
Like 16 hours of footage there.
Oh,
Oh,
wow.
I'd love to just receive a raw file of that, like just unedited. Like, here you go. It's like 1,000
2 days at
megabytes,
Rare.
but yeah,
Yeah.
your terabyte hard drive to watch this one. But yeah.
Yeah, they just throw it on a hard drive and mail it to you. Yeah, I mean, I guess we're probably pretty much already into the Rare trip because we kind of just sort of naturally segued into that. So, I have a question for you, Steve.
Yes.
Did you beat Robin at Killer Instinct?
He kicked the shit out of me.
You took the life bar. You took
I
one of
took
his
a life bar.
bars.
It was really funny because the only reason I managed to do so because from the word go, it was just kicks and punches and that's it. Like, and I was playing as Orchid, so it's like, dude, don't you feel like bad about this? So he's just flying across the screen, and the one shot I was able to do anything is he went to go get a flying kick on me because he just took my health bar down, and I just respawned. This is still like clear as a bell to me, which is funny. But I just got back up again as Orchid, and I already see he's ducking down to do a flying kick. So I'm like, you know what? So I just push the joystick to the opposite direction that you're facing, which makes you dodge. Or not dodge, block rather. So he sends a flying kick and it comes right into my hand where I block it and he just falls down. And I remember him saying, "Oh, it's like that, is it?" So immediately I jump back up and start doing a little bit of damage, and luckily it was enough just to bring him down a health bar. And I'm like, yes, I got a health bar. But like that was enough for me. I could have just walked away from the arcade machine and that been it. But of course, then like 5 seconds later, he just absolutely pummeled me, and that was the end of that. Like, it was just like a supreme victory for him. I'm like, okay, he deserves that entirely. He's been playing this game for as long as this cabinet's been here. So that's his win,
I imagine that cabinet's probably been there since it came out, or I don't
Oh,
know if
for
there's any
sure.
history about that.
Yeah,
being
they
told
said
yet.
that it was one of the ones that Chris built himself, Chris Stamper.
Oh.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah, sadly,
yeah,
we
it
didn't
was,
see
I
an
mean,
X
it's
the
one
ball
of the
cabinet there.
originals.
If only. They should have kept that one. Get rid of Killer Instinct. Keep X the ball.
Yeah, you just see a whole bunch of people crowded around X the ball while Killer Instinct just gathers dust and comments.
Gotta
This is
find
where
where
it's
that
at.
ball is.
Did they have a Battletoads arcade machine?
Not that I saw. In there.
No, I didn't
Yeah,
see
I don't
one.
think so.
That's surprising.
That'd have been amazing.
Yeah, we
I
should
know.
have checked Craig's office maybe.
Oh yeah,
got
no,
it
we
in
never
there.
got to go
Sure,
up there.
Mia's probably got one in his bedroom.
I just
I
forgot
know,
they just
um,
opened a new arcade in Portland not too long ago that has one. I should go check it out.
Nice. Yeah.
That'd be cool because
I know
they're really rare to find in the wild.
Oh
Yeah.
I can
Yeah,
only
and
imagine.
expensive.
Oh yeah. I'm assuming you've tried to buy one, Amir.
Yeah.
I know the. I'm not sure if this is what happened to some of the other arcade machines, but I know the Street Fighter 2 arcade machine that they used to have at Rare is at Fortune Fish now. So I think
Mm-hmm.
I think the Tim Stamper took some of them with him.
I think
when
they were
he
their
left.
personal things. Yeah.
Yeah, because I know if you look, I don't know if you guys follow Fortune Fish on Twitter, but they got the cabinet working again over there,
Yeah.
and then like people like Kev Bayless and stuff are like commenting, and it's like that's the same cabinet we used to play on.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that was kind of cool. But
That's so
Tim
awesome.
Stamper has so much crap. I mean, judging by that, when he briefly went on Twitter for no apparent reason, just started posting pictures of beta cartridges.
Oh god,
Yeah,
the dream
right.
stuff.
Oh, I know.
That was a summer
Yeah.
to remember.
Pile.
And then it's just this. He never used Twitter hardly at all up to that point. He posted all that stuff and then just stopped using Twitter again.
Yeah.
And like he fully committed. Like he like made a logo for his watermarks and like everything
Yeah.
like that. Like
Yeah. Kept on
He's
sticking.
really into it.
Because he did that trail for like what 2-3 months. Like once a week, he'd post some kind of tease, and then
Mm-hmm.
and then in the end, like Rare dropped everything at the
Yeah.
end of the year in their video.
Yeah.
I know. At first, I thought that maybe he was, going to lead into something that Rare was going to do, and they had contacted him and said, "Hey, could you do this?" But then his just kind of went nowhere in the end, and then eventually, yeah, like Rare put out the Project Doom video.
Yeah.
So I guess it
Yeah.
all worked out. But I mean, I didn't get to play it, but
I don't think I've ever clicked on a video as fast as when I saw that pop up in my subscription box.
Oh my god.
It's like
Oh my
dream, I'm like click.
to watch this 20 times.
Oh god.
Oh my god. It was incredible.
I know that's like the coolest stuff since, since Amir's videos he's got on Rare Minion.
Yeah.
Man, that Dinosaur Planet video you got, I've watched that. Man, just and cried so many times.
Same
I
with the
know.
Conquest
It's
Quest
so
video.
there's so much content in there. It's crazy.
Yeah.
All
like-
of them, yeah.
hmm
How many do you have now? Like 3? Is it Perfect Dark, Dinosaur Planet,
Mhm.
and Conquer? Is
Jet
there another
Force
one?
Gemini as well.
Jet Force Gemini. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I haven't seen that one. Shoot.
Is there a story about how you got those, or would you rather not say?
The story unfortunately can't be told, but yeah.
Where did you bury the body, Amir?
That's why he's
I
known as
figured
the
it'd be
Rare
something
Thief.
like that, but I thought I'd ask just in case.
Yeah, just in case. Yeah, no.
Just in
Yeah,
case.
unfortunately, I can't really say.
All right, fair enough. Well, however you got them, that definitely was a massive, contribution to the Rare community.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of work too because what I got wasn't very usable, so I had to like go out of my way to get a bunch of stuff to get it, so I could put it up on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But like as soon as I saw what I had, I was like, oh my gosh, I got to share this as quickly as I can.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean it's probably the best we'll have until some crazy day in the future where someone leaks betas onto the internet or something.
Yeah. Well, it's kind of cool the feature that Louise did with like the Rare Replay stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because she did a small little feature of like 12 Tales and stuff. So that was really cool to
Mhm.
see. I'm glad they've gone
Yeah.
back and done that too, as like
Well,
feature.
I'm glad that
Yeah.
clearly they still exist because that stuff looked like it was running off an emulator.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, well,
They-
that's the thing. They're running natively on modern emulators. Like, you
Yeah,
can tell
so-
from video quality alone. That
So it
was the
means
most exciting. With Dream
they've
and
preserved
12
it
Tales.
digitally. That's what's so.
Yeah.
I imagine that someday, who knows when, eventually they'll come out to the public. I mean, freaking Sonic Extreme eventually leaked to the public. So I imagine that one day 12 Tales and Dinosaur Planet, at least the
Actually,
E3
did
demos.
Extreme leak, or is it still like? I thought that was only like an earlier version of Extreme.
Oh, there's a bunch of versions out now, and I think
It's
they're
so
trying
confusing. There's like 6
Yeah.
different versions.
They're still doing work on it because they have a lot of it. I think they have like the source code even, and I think they're trying to port it to actually run on modern hardware. Because
I don't know why they're bothering. It looks so crap.
historical, preservation,
Yeah,
Right,
I
right.
suppose.
Yeah, you want to be able to
thought it
look
was
back
funny
and go,
that-
look how crap this looked.
No, I thought it was funny that Chris
turned out
Seaver
well. Like,
thought
like
that there was already Conquer in the Wild.
Yeah.
He was like, wasn't there a leak a few years ago? And everybody was like, what? But
Yeah, because she was like, yeah, didn't the 12 Tales cartridge get like stolen from E3 like way back when? I'm like, what?
I wonder if he just meant Amir's video. Maybe he thought that was taken from somebody who had the build.
There was a blank cartridge, development Conquer cartridge that I think got out. But I think it like erased itself, like there was nothing on it, but it like said
Yeah.
like Conquer on it.
Yeah,
That
those
I've
cards
heard.
erase themselves like as soon as you like pull it out.
That's crazy. That's really smart.
Yep.
Really strange. So what do they like? Is the hardware itself connected to a machine feeding the game? Into like how does that work, or is it just like it writes over itself?
I don't know exactly. There's two parts to it though. There's like this red little dongle that you also need to get it to run. Like you can't just have that cart. There's this attachment. Brandon from Rareware Central had the attachment for it. But
man.
yeah, from my understanding, I don't know exactly how it works, but as soon as you take it out of the console or the development kit, it wipes itself. Like they load it on there and then you can run it and then it's gone.
So I'm wondering what would happen if you turned the development kit off but left the cartridge in and just stole the whole development kit.
Well, I mean, the ship's probably sailed on that because I don't think there's going to be any development
Yeah.
kits with Conquer plugged into it anywhere left.
There's a rumored cart somewhere in Europe, supposedly. Somebody out there bought it ages ago for $10,000, and
wow.
it's somewhere out there. That's the big fish, like big myth.
Yeah, I think
I
I've
thought that
heard
was Dream.
before,
Yeah.
but
Yeah, I'm not. I may live in Europe, but I'm not saying anything.
Well, it's a disappointment
So-
that we never got to see that thing in full, but you never really know what you have until it's gone.
yeah, that's true. Well, at very least, I'm happy that through the Rare Replay videos, we got to see a bit more of these unreleased games. And who
Yeah, for
knows?
sure.
Maybe one day.
Well, it's got to
I
be
imagine-
a disappointment too as a developer to put so much time and effort into it, and like, nope, this one's not going to see the light of day ever.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Conquer and Dinosaur Planet kind of did, but they were both transformed.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Especially
I'd say
Conquer.
Dinosaur Planet took less of a beating. Like even though the whole like front end IP changed, the core game itself does actually seem to be quite similar.
Yeah, that's true.
Whereas Conker's kind of it's
Yeah.
barely
Ground zero.
recognizable from its original
Right.
form.
That's true.
Mhm.
I think for me with Dinosaur Planet, with Star Fox Adventures, though, is that the tone just seems so different with a Star Fox IP, even though the game seems largely intact.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, it's not quite the same.
Well, it's partly as well because of the legal minefield that game's left in. Like much like Diddy Kong Racing, Star Fox
I
Adventures
know.
is one of those games that's kind of like, are we ever going to see it re-released in any form? I mean, I guess Nintendo could technically re-release it digitally, but they never really touch GameCube games unless they're Zelda.
Yeah.
fair enough.
I mean, they might do it. They might start doing it for the NX, whatever the hell that ends up being.
Yeah, doubt it.
We got kind of lucky with Donkey Kong 64 on the Virtual Console there. I didn't think we'd ever see
Yeah.
that again, but
Yeah, I
that
didn't.
was really
Yeah,
cool.
with Jetpack
I
and all
still
that
can't
in there.
believe that happened. That was like one of the biggest gaming surprises last year.
Yeah.
Because I mean I've told this story on an old episode, but I mean I was 99.9% convinced that DK64 was lost to time for multiple reasons.
Yeah.
And I actually tracked down my original cartridge from like my ex-girlfriend's house last year, and I beat the game 101% for the first time last March, and then like 2 days later the Virtual Console version was announced. So I've just been playing this really badly up-resed it was plugged into my 42-inch HD TV,
Right.
and you know what an N64 looks like on a TV without the right spec. It's just, it looks terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, looks like a checkerboard.
Yeah.
To be fair, the emulation on the Wii U for that Donkey Kong 64 isn't the best.
Yeah,
So
I wish they'd
maybe
done
it
what
was
like
that.
Rare did or 4J Studios did rather, where they completely go through, they up all the textures, they add new elements like online play. Like that's what you should do. But Nintendo gets away with it because they're just like, now we'll just put it there. It is. And you're like, oh come on.
Right, and then
I mean, to
oh,
be
you
fair,
bought
the
it for the
Virtual
Wii?
Console has always been an emulation service, whereas what 4J did, I mean, that's a port rather than an emulation.
Right.
I suppose with Nintendo, the argument could be made they released multiple games every week.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
it's
I
not
guess.
like they're not passion projects. It's more just signing off
Yeah.
on old software being uploaded to the server.
Yeah.
For just doing that they really put out games really slowly. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
If you're just dumping ROMs through emulation software onto your server, can't you just put all of this shit out already? I mean, come on.
Yeah,
I mean, I do think, certain games they should make more of an effort. Like stuff like Ocarina of Time, Mario 64. I would appreciate something akin to the 4J Studio ports.
yeah,
Oh,
absolutely.
But,
that
I
would be
mean-
so cool.
Yeah, I mean, DK64, I think it's the best way to play it is on the Wii U because it looks so
Right.
good compared to the N64. But then again, I know a lot of people have trouble finding a good controller setup on the Wii U tablet.
I just
So-
use the Wii U Pro controller and I think it works fine. My only problems with Donkey Kong 64 on the Wii U were, I'm having a brain fart, but what's the name of the kind of pirate stage? And
Gloomy Galleon?
Gloomy Galleon.
Gloomy Galleon.
Yeah. Yes, thank you.
My people.
Ask the Rare fans.
But there's like starts to be like some music clipping and stuff, some weird
Really?
emulation errors. Yeah, I ran into that when I played through it. Unless there's something wrong with my Wii U.
I
Yeah,
never noticed anything myself, but
that, and I find that because of the way that a lot of the N64 games are kind of unnaturally darkened, Crystal Caverns is kind of gets hard to see in some areas.
well, that's a weird problem with the Wii U
Yeah.
as a whole. Like every NES and N64 game has a weird dark filter over it.
I don't
It's really
understand.
strange.
Maybe it's to hide the ugliness.
I don't know.
It's
Super
so
Nintendo
strange because
games
the
are
Super NES games look really bright and beautiful, whereas NES and N64, they've just got this really drab filter over the top of everything. Like I thought it was my TV, but then like I actually compared it to different games, and yeah,
Yeah,
it's weird.
like I understand why they're doing it on Game Boy Advance because the colors were unnaturally bright in those games. To
They were
compensate
brightened
for-
on. Yeah.
Yeah, to compensate for no backlighting. But why would you do that for N64 games?
Yeah, I think it might have been too one of the defects of texture stretching because they did that a lot for like textures on walls. They did a lot of stretching back then, and I think it kind of diluted some of the color. But if you consider the alternate as like anti-aliasing, whereas you have like a PS1 game, I can't look at PS1 footage of any game because it looks jittery as hell. Like anytime
I
the camera
know.
moves, it's like you get motion
Yeah.
sickness.
Seizure.
And, there's still people who try to tell me that the PS1 was more powerful than the N64. I'm like, what is wrong with you?
Who tried to tell you that?
I've had multiple people, just not like, I mean, no one you would know, but just throughout my life.
Yeah.
Like, and
Yeah.
PS1 had such better graphics.
People
well,
mistake
that's
popularity.
silly.
Yeah.
I mean,
People
maybe
mistake
it's the-
popularity for quality.
Yeah.
maybe they thought FMVs were rendered.
It's
within the game.
that and a lot of and there's a lot of pre-rendered backgrounds to compensate for the bad 3D in PS1 games because they have that extra CD space, so they kind of use that to get around how crappy the 3D capabilities of the PS1 were.
Yeah, because
And
if
the
you look at like direct comparisons, like multi-platform games, for example, one of my favorite games of all time is probably none of you guys have played it, but Shadow Man.
Oh yeah, I have that on N64 actually.
Oh right, awesome. Well, I've mastered every version. It was PS1, N64, Dreamcast, PC. So obviously the Dreamcast and PC versions are the best. But the N64 port was an admirable job. It looked sort of almost on par with sort of Zelda. Well, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration, but it looked good for an N64 game. And if you play the PS1 version, it's almost sickening. It's like, what the hell did they do to you? Like, it's, you know, Mike, the main character, he's got like, I don't know, maybe 6 polygons.
No.
That's why all the best PS1 games have re-rendered backgrounds, like all the Resident Evil games, all the Final Fantasy games.
Yeah.
With the exception
Like
of, I think, Spyro and Crash Bandicoot, which somehow pulled it off really well, but they were first-party devs, so they couldn't do it inside and out.
Yeah, I think games like Crash, they benefited from having, like, you know, insanely talented developers working on them. But yeah, a lot of third-party games and a lot of the ports just...
Yeah.
Even, like, I've got a lot of respect for the early Tomb Raider games, but I can't play them on the PlayStation 1 because just like, say, the way... When you walk forward, the walls kind of, like, reform, like the polygons shifting as you move. It's just...
Yeah, all 3D
So common on
PS1.
PS1.
Yeah. It's funny too, actually, when you look at the specs, because the PS1, while it isn't as powerful as the N64, it had a lot of different advantages when it came to developing for it. You know, like if you were a PS1 developer, you had a much easier time making a game. Where if you were on the N64, it's like, all right, you got cartridge limitations for one thing. You got a different way that it's reading, you know, RAM and ROM. So that's going to be fun. Have, you know, good luck with that.
Right.
So to stick it through and see what Rare was able to do, it's like, you guys are geniuses. Like, you had everything against you, and you made, like, you know, Banjo, Conker, Donkey, nobody's business, you know?
I have no idea how they pulled that off. Just knowing how bad the N64 was with any sort of texturing and thing like that, and those textures look amazing.
No,
like how in the world did you fit all those? I can't remember.
Crazy. Oh, go ahead.
I can't remember how big the N64's texture cache was, but I remember it was really, really small.
I think 500, wasn't it?
Was it? I thought it was smaller than that.
know.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I know that there was a reason that it really struggled, even with anything that used 2D sprites and games with 3D rendered or like a 3D render or 2D rendered 3D background. You know what I'm totally talking
like
incoherently.
Mario Kart.
Games that any games that used a ton of 2D was really kind of ran into problems with, and they would have to. Like, I think that was one of the main reasons for Killer Instinct Gold. They opted to recreate them all in 3D, all the backgrounds, just because it was easier to do.
That's so weird, but yeah.
But what were you saying, Jeff? And we should
I was
get back on
talking
topic.
well, I was talking about Conker, and if you guys watched those developer interviews that Chris Seaver posted a couple years back, and they were talking about reverse engineering one of the multi-purpose chips on the N64, which I think it was Mike Currington who had reverse engineered one of them to use as like extra audio processing. Like, it was just crazy. So that was why a lot of the emulators didn't work at first, is because they went so much deeper than most N64 developers. Like, they didn't just accept what they had. They, you know, took this stuff that was documented poorly in Japanese, and they just kind of like, well, not sure what this is, but let's just make it do what we want.
So, speaking of Conker,
incredible.
Speaking of Conker behind the scenes stuff, Chris Marlowe at dinner that final night told me an excellent story about porting Conkers to what eventually became Conker Live and Reloaded, and it's it's one of the greatest stories I've ever heard. So they're basically going through I'm gonna butcher what he said here. If he ever listens to this, he's gonna be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. Anyways, it sounded like what they were doing is ripping textures from the N64 and basically bumping them up to what they would be as a proper size, so they could like keep track of whatever they needed to retexture for the retelling of Conker Live and Reloaded, like the Reloaded bit. So they had to go through and be like, they grab an eye and be like, okay, that's too big, let's put that there, so you're gonna have to do Conker's eye like this, blah 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 blah. And in one of the levels, there's a ski trip. It's really infamous. You guys probably know about it. But in the Matrix level for Live and Reloaded, there's a photo of like a ski trip that one of the Rare employees took a picture of, like, and put it in the game as like a kind of an Easter egg. But the funny thing is, he didn't scale it properly. So he just uploaded the whole file just as is, like as it came through his camera. So it's like 1,000 by 1,000 kind of thing. So they're going through this huge texture cache, and like, you know, there's like Conker's eye, it's 100 by 100. Then there's like Barry's nose, 100 by 100, and then boom, this big photo of it, like not even the whole ski trip, but just like you know, somebody's ski pole, like just blown up to like a huge exaggerated like proportion. And I think it was Chris Marlowe that turned to the guy, because he knew the guy that did it. And he's like, okay, first of all, we're not putting your fucking ski trip into the game. And second of all, this is way too fucking big. What are you doing? It was fantastic.
That's awesome. Oh, that's hilarious.
Again,
I'm surprised that didn't just like completely break the game to insert that big of a picture.
It's a testament to the original Xbox. Jeez.
Yeah. I probably butchered that story as much as I did his accent there, but honestly, hearing him tell that at dinner, and same with his beardy stories too, they're just, oh, that trip was great just for hearing like the stories from developers and stuff, you know? Like just the people that you know from Rare just being like, oh, this guy was a dick. Like, that's amazing.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, it seems
like Jeff said a few weeks ago. Jeff, was it you who said Robin grabbed your Conker cartridge and the Banjo cartridge?
Yeah.
And he was like, yeah, feel that extra weight in Conker, that's on me.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, he did exactly that.
Oh, awesome. Yeah, I think that would have been like if I'd have got to go to the trip. I think that would have been the highlight. I mean, as much as I'm looking forward to Sea of Thieves, I think just shooting the shit with developers and just you know, all these tangents and stories about all these games from, you know, our childhood. That must have been incredible.
Yeah. No, it was like meeting your idols, like all of them at once. You know, it's like, hey, you know your celebrities that you're like a fan of. You're like, oh yeah, there's this musician that I like over here. There's this actor that I enjoy his films. It's like, okay, all of them are in one room right now. Here's the door. Go meet 'em. You're like, you know, it's just
free drinks.
Exactly.
And the fact that they sound like they were so enthused to talk about these things, like they must rarely, you know, like say for example, I don't know, if you met one of your favorite actors, you know, any question you ask them, they must get asked 10 times a day by, you know, interviewers and members of the public. Whereas like these guys, they're more like unsung heroes. So I guess like a lot of the stuff you talk to them about, they don't really get to talk about that much.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah,
it must have been like equally. I mean, a lot of people who've talked to us about the Rare trip have spoke about how humble they all were.
Oh,
but, you know, that's it, because they are some of the greatest game developers in the world, but they're not on the level of, like, you know, they couldn't just walk down the street and be recognized by a random member of the public.
Yep.
So for them, this must have been like a big first for them as well as you guys, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like the guys that go to the E3 press conference and shows like that, like they kind of get it to, I think, a minor extent. Like I know when I went to X15, I was kind of like, you know, fawning over them and stuff, and you know, they were still really reciprocating of it. Like they were like, "Oh, it's cool to meet you finally." You know, it was nice, like that kind of back and forth. But yeah, I think you're right about the whole unsung heroes thing, because it's unlike any other form of media. You don't really get that, you know. Like if you're a movie star, you get recognized, but if you're like, yeah, I made Conker's Bad Fur Day, like until you say that, because your face isn't on screen at any point, no one's going to recognize you, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, I think it's probably just because I'm a massive Rare fan, but I don't think there's any other video game developer that I've known who so many people were without actually knowing them. I mean, with Nintendo, it's like, oh, it's, you know, Shigeru Miyamoto. No idea who else. No idea who's a, you know, who made some random sound effect or who's programming it. You know, I have no idea. I just know the guy who, you know, goes up.
It's like, yeah, even Koji Kondo, like I know his name, but I don't know what he looks like. I wouldn't recognize him.
Like, he was in the. I do know what he looks like, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's
okay.
Just because.
But yeah, it's him, Aonuma, and Miyamoto. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. And when I look at Rare, it's like I remember, you know, I don't know when I started paying attention, but at some point I started paying attention to the names I saw in the credits, and I think Scribes helped with a lot of things where you can start hearing, you know, L.O.G, you know, name drop people, and it started to feel they're all super mysterious, but it started to feel like a real group of people that was like an all-star team rather than just like you got one name and a group of minions at his back. Yeah, you know.
No, especially with like the early to late 90s, like you saw a lot of familiar faces come up because they were moving from team to team. So it was really, you know, often you'd be like, oh, you made a video game I'm a huge fan of. Congratulations. Like, you know, but with Rare, it's like, you made 50 games that I'm a huge fan of, you know?
Right.
Like, it's fantastic.
Yep. That it is. Okay, so I guess we're still kind of smack middle in the Rare trip. I guess, Steve, you already kind of shared I guess those would be like your stand-up memories from the trip already, talking to Marlo. Do you have anything more to add? Or?
I guess it'll come naturally as I think about it, but there was a lot of really funny moments. I totally ate shit in front of Louise O'Connor, which was great. I don't know if
I hope
anybody...
not literally.
No. I am the great... Yeah. No, what ended up happening is, I don't know if maybe previous people brought it up on the previous episodes of Logcast, but we had done a treasure hunt kind of deal to kind of... It's like a team building exercise sort of deal. That turned out really, really cool and fun. So it was funny because Louise O'Connor is like, I don't want to say infamously like a foul mouth, but swears like a sailor. But it's funny because it started raining and she's like, "Oh shit, the rain!" And just hearing that in Lethos's voice, you're like, that's kind of, that was really memorable. But what ended up happening is it started raining really hard because, of course, it's the UK. So it's pouring down and it dries off after a while. We're like, cool. So I'm running around, I'm wearing Converse shoes, which isn't a good idea at all, just as a fashion choice. But in terms of raining, it's terrible because you got a flat-soled foot and then you've got old cobblestone England. So, tripping hazard right there. So
good combination.
I remember we were trying to go to a certain lookout point to see if we could find the next clue. And my justification is I'll run over there, I'll see if that street's whatever it's supposed to be called, and then I'll run back and tell you guys. So I'm about 5 steps into it, and whoop, I just completely go up. Like, I just see the sky as I come down and land on my back.
Oh, no.
The only thing worse than doing that is the big cascade of ooh of everybody around you. So, Louise runs over. She's like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm just, my pride is, irreparably damaged. But no, I'm fine. My back's, all good." So that was one of the most memorable moments on the trip. Was just completely falling on my back like a tortoise.
I hadn't heard it.
I've got to say, I love when you're doing an impression of Louise O'Connor, you're giving her an English accent instead of an Irish one.
Yeah, again, as I said, I butcher everything.
No,
I can do Scottish, I can do Australian, Texas, and that's about it. Everything else, like the UK, might as well be English-ish land. Like that's, yeah.
Ironically, there's probably more variation in regional dialects here than anywhere else in the world.
Oh, absolutely.
So funny, yeah.
No, she probably shouted something like, I'm going Old English again. Irish.
Are you okay?
Yeah, are you okay there? Are you okay? Just fell on your back. That's too way too. Oh, that's Scottish then? I got it wrong again.
That's a little Scottish.
Oh, God.
No, she was Merseyside and came up and said, "Are you right, dearie?"
Mrs.
Just fell me
dear.
back.
That was like 4 different accents merged together.
Stretch my vocal cords, make a Viva Pinata 3, you fucking wings.
Oh, if I'm ever
water
assimilated over
stone.
there, I'm not going to be able to blend in at all.
Very good.
Where the fuck are you from?
Right. So, great story, Steve.
Thank you.
Amir, let's talk about your standout memories from the trip.
Standout memories. I'm like, I have them all written down. Let's see if I can pull it up. But there wasn't really just one thing. I think a lot of people who've already been on the Logcast have already said the biggest, most memorable thing I think was just getting to meet everyone from Rare and hang out with them, and just like kind of like chill and hang out. Like it was pretty crazy, because we all look up to these guys all so much, like everyone there. And I felt they made us feel just as special as we felt they were special, like they were just as excited to talk to us as we were to them and asking us questions, and just getting to see how excited they were about, Rare and Sea of Thieves was almost like, it was more important than like our impressions of the game, because it's in good hands. Like the whole team, and they're just like they're just buzzing about it and just so excited to be working on it. And it was really cool to see that enthusiasm firsthand and just feel the whole vibe of the studio. Just super excited about the game. So yeah, just getting to meet everybody, putting voices to all these people we've been talking on Twitter Twitter with for years. Like now when I read their tweets, I can hear their voice saying it, which is really cool. But yeah, just meeting everybody and hanging out with them, and yeah, it was surreal. It was surreal.
Who drove you down to the Italian place, Amir?
The Italian place. I was in Emma's car. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Which is fun.
nice.
Yeah. Yeah. She was talking about how she got to Rare. You know, talking about how she got her journalism degree, and figured out. You know, she was looking at applications like, oh, you can work as a game, work in the game industry. Yeah, sure. So she applied and everything like that, and just her background of getting into the studio, which is really cool.
That's
She's a really
awesome.
good driver as well.
That's good. That's good. Craig Duncan was too.
Yep.
Who were you with, Steve?
As was Robin Beanland. They're all good drivers.
Ah,
Wrong side of the road, which really freaked me out still to this day. But
You know, even just watching like video from the trip, if seeing people drive on the wrong side of the road, or I'm sorry, the left side of the road, it just slightly hurts my brain to see that.
well, especially too, because sometimes you'd be driving down and you'd see like there's a kid sleeping in the passenger seat, but it's like you're so used to seeing that as the driver's seat, you're like, that sleeping child's driving a car, and it just like alerted your brain for a sec. You're just like, oh no, never mind, it's his dad, on the other side. Yeah.
Oh man. But,
What was really cool too is as much as we know about them, they seem to know about us. They definitely researched us and looked us up and were interested in everything we were doing. They found a couple videos Olivia had made from years ago that he had no idea that were still up, and then they could find and watch. But they were saying how cool they were and how talented he was, and loved Jackie's artwork and everything like that. It was funny to see how much they invested in us too.
Well, they ended up having, I think it was a wall of facts or something like that for each person.
They had
the slides.
watch out for these people. They wanted to let the studio know, hey, there's gonna be 12 randos walking around. Here are their faces, so if you see them, don't be alarmed.
But don't talk about that secret project. No, I was kidding.
No, they just
They're
put my
not
face up there
intruders.
going, he's really ugly, so get ready. Mentally prepare
Brace
yourself.
yourselves.
as long as there was no shoot on site listed below it, I think you're fine.
Yeah, well, there's no guns over there.
Yeah, what was your guys' interesting fact? Do you remember?
Oh, mine was definitely it was the largest unofficial official Rare memorabilia collection.
Oh yeah. No, that would be that would definitely be.
It's a pretty good one. I don't
That's
remember what mine was.
I thought mine would for sure be a top 5 thing, but it was they celebrate Pants Day every year, and I'm like, yeah, that's good.
Pants Day.
One good memory that I do have with Amir that I can't remember if we actually talked about it, but it kind of made an appearance in Mandy's vlog was when we were doing the scavenger hunt, and one of them was to just perform a song on air guitar, and we for whatever reason decided "Kissed by a Rose" by Seal. Is it Seal? And
Yeah.
we did that, and we were like, wah, wah, wah. And then after that, especially me, I'm not sure why, I just was hyper, we kept making the noise, and it kind of sounded like a dying cat. It was
Yeah, well, we
Classic.
realized we sung it in a dying cat sound, and so everything else we did from that was in that same sound. I'm sure we were annoying to everybody we walked by.
yeah. We
Probably
were
was
outside
like
a
those
pub, so
damn
hopefully they were all
Yankees.
drunk.
Yeah, I think we managed to do "Sweet Child of Mine" by Guns N' Roses. That was our big
Nice.
debut.
I felt bad for Cameron. He was the only Brit with us. The rest of us were Americans.
Oh, he's like, oh my gosh, these damn Yankees! I can't stand
Yeah.
them.
Yeah,
He
it was
must have
cool
been
to
so
have.
embarrassed walking around with us.
Yeah, they live around there. That's just not fun for them. It was nice having Bobby there as the American what's it called, mediator to help explain
Liaison, yeah.
some terms we wouldn't understand, or this is the customary thing to do around here. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Kind of, yeah, him knowing both sides pretty well.
Yeah.
So,
Well, how
How
long
long-
had he
or
been
so he
there
led
at
us
that
to
point?
believe. What, Kev?
How long had he been there at that point when you got there?
How long had he been in the UK?
Yeah.
I think he said he moved there 2 or 3 months before E3 last year. So at
Yeah.
that point,
Oh,
probably
okay,
about a
so
year.
over a year
Like
then.
just about a year, yeah.
Okay.
So he's had a chance to get used to the.
Yep.
Like,
Yeah, he just got his driver's license, or he took the test for it. It looked like.
Yeah, I saw that he
Nice.
posted the test. The cat's eyes. I've never heard those reflector things called cat's eyes before.
really?
I'm right there with you,
Did
Bobby.
you see the?
I'm right there with
I think
you.
it was the goat farmer one.
Oh
My
yeah.
favorite.
And I was like, what?
didn't-
This is on the driver's test? Does this happen often?
Yeah, on every highway.
Like herds of sheep and goats crossing the roads at all
You got to
times.
go from the sheepy shop to the goaty shop.
Yeah, exactly. We're receiving a large block in traffic because Farmer King Bill again. It's like, I'm sorry, I have to move.
I've got a
Do you guys
head.
not get that in rural areas?
No, I'm
I
in
don't know,
Canada,
I
so
don't-
everything
I don't-
freezes up here.
Yeah.
Everything's rural in Canada.
Yeah, I think I've ever seen sheep cross the road, even when driving cross country. You'll see a
No.
lot of cows and things that are corralled off, but
Everything's got its own space and never has to
Yeah.
cross the street.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I think it's
The only thing
charming.
we have is horse stuff. Like, I took my driver's test in Florida, and there's still horse paths and along streets in Miami. So that was about the closest thing to that.
Yeah. I get a lot of icy condition questions, and that's about it.
That's
Yeah.
probably smart.
I remember just a lot of what do you do when you're parking on a hill and
Yeah.
when there's fire trucks and all that stuff, like a lot of emergency vehicles, stuff like that, how to correctly park on hills. And I don't know.
I think there's one about alligators having the right of way in Florida.
In the Florida one.
hmm
Jeez.
Like, you're not allowed to harass or touch them or try to get them to move. You just have to wait.
I don't think I'd
Yeah.
ever have the confidence to try and get an alligator to move. Like, yeah, just push him from the back. That'll work out well. Oh, I have no
Yeah,
arms
yeah.
now. Like,
Croc hunter would just grab it and throw it onto the side.
crikey, it's a bit of a ride bump.
Yeah, it's probably what they do in Australia. That's actually the correct answer, is to wrestle the alligator to the ground, pick it up, sling it over your shoulder, and then throw it into the bush.
You gotta sneak up behind him and jump on him.
Pretty sure at that point they go, no, you just ignore him, hop back in your kangaroo and go on.
Yeah.
That's right.
Oh,
Good times.
man. This has been quite the episode.
Yeah. Bunch of Rare fans going on tangents.
Exactly.
Rare
I keep-
tangent.
Yeah, it's very rare. I keep just losing track of where we were. But it's okay because it's funny.
Yeah,
What
well,
show are we on? Who are you guys?
Where am I? I'm lost. Who are these people? So I think we went over. Oh, okay. I think we've went over. Anything more from the trip either of you would like to add before we go on to E3? Because I think we've kind of gone over what we said we were going to go over.
did anybody mention foot golf? Has that been a topic at all?
Just a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you have a memory from it, you should share.
I feel like everyone got injured.
I think Mike then has the most memorable memory out of that one.
Yeah, he talked
Yeah,
about
his-
it on
his is
last
the best
episode
one.
when he
Okay.
was on where he destroyed his foot. And
Ugh.
then we heard about Alex, smacking Jeff with a ball.
It was Daniel, yeah. Yeah.
So it sounds like no one else was injured. 'Cause
Yeah.
I'm starting to wonder how dangerous of a place the grounds were.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was really
Go
cool,
out there
though.
and do CrossFit, like or something, like push.
Yeah, they have
tires
the
around.
tires out there. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's crazy.
He's got all that space, so use it for something.
I know.
Sure.
It's kind of inspiring to see them all doing that. It's like put in a hard day's work,
Yeah.
hunched over at a computer. I'd want to go home, but it's pretty cool to see how many of them stick around and
Yeah.
work out and stuff.
Yeah. Or swim in the pond. If you saw that
Or swim in the
video on
pond.
Twitter.
Yeah.
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 Is that the one where Paul? What's
Paul
his last
Collins.
Paul Collins. Yeah.
Name? Yeah,
Collins.
Paul Collins. He's in there. Then Greg Mills is like throwing toilet paper at him.
Yeah.
and stuff.
I
Well,
don't
he's
know,
got the
man. My
big
theory is he
welly,
was doing
welly suit on.
research for. He was doing research for Battletoads. That's my theory.
Yeah. That's commitment, though, to be like, oh, I don't know how, or, well, he probably knows how water physics work, but to get that exact, science to
Yeah.
it, and to be like, yeah, I'm just going to go hop in here and see how it actually works.
That's
I was
awesome.
disappointed that the pond wasn't deeper. I thought it was this bottomless abyss.
You hope Paul Collins died at that point.
Yeah.
Like, why didn't he die? Why didn't he just sink to nothing?
Damn it,
I
Paul.
was expecting, Woo Fact to be on the bottom somewhere.
Or the infamous rare squid.
Yeah.
The Miyamoto octopus.
Was there fish? I'm pretty sure that there was someone showed some fish in there.
Some
though,
big
right?
koi.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
So there's a few things in there. Should have went fishing. No.
I saw Royston. He was chilling.
Yeah. He
Is
was
he
stuck under that boulder.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy to, like, it's rare, but just in general to see how a game development studio, like, just go walk inside and see, here's like the artists and what they're up to, and the engineers and the, the marketing team, the community team. It was really cool just to see, like 2 days of, I know we interrupted their day, so it wasn't like a full on, this is how they're working all the time, but it was really cool to, get a glimpse of what that was like.
The history of the place too. Did anybody like when I was standing in that music room with Robin Beanland? Like the thoughts going through my head is they recorded the DK rap here and banjo and Ghoulies and Conquer and just everything in that room, and it just and the motion capture
I had that
studio
same
as well.
thought. Yeah, the motion capture studio was like I was just imagining them like
doing all the perfect
around.
art stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Duncan Botwood getting prodded.
Yeah.
Did they do the GoldenEye motion cap work there, or was that done at the old studio?
The GoldenEye came out before the studio was built, so.
Okay. Yeah.
Was
And-
GoldenEye mocapped?
There's definitely some mocap in
I'm
there.
pretty sure there's mocap in it.
Really?
I'm not
They
sure
might
how
have done
they
it for maybe the XBLA version. They might have gone back and revisited it.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say the N64 version. I can't imagine there's any mocap in that. Like, none of the. Not to be mean to Rare, but none of the animations look remotely natural.
They did Killer Instinct though with mocap. I know
See,
that.
I thought when
Yeah.
you're behind a guard and he's like swatting at a fly, that looks mocap
Yeah,
to me.
there's some of the guard movements I swear look a little bit mocap.
You know what? I think it
death
is mocap
animations
because there
don't.
was that good quote from Duncan Botwood. I think it's Duncan Botwood where he said, "I died 1,000 times for GoldenEye." Do you guys remember that at all?
Oh,
Yeah.
right, okay.
Yeah, and
thought
what
it
he's
was Perfect
referring to,
Dark,
he's like
but I'm
he
not
had
sure.
to fall over so many times and pretend he was dead just to get
Yeah.
the GoldenEye mocap. Yeah.
I mean, you got to remember too that back in 1997, the mocap then's not going to be nearly as advanced.
Oh, you know what? They did have mocap back then because Killer Instinct used it, and
Yeah.
some of the
Yeah.
Killer Instinct.
Kevin Bayless
team-
trying to walk like Orchid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, they had the mocap technology.
Yeah,
So they probably used it for 1 or 2 animations.
It obviously doesn't look as good as modern, mocap, but to me it doesn't look keyframed either. So it looks very a little bit more fluid than you would expect if they were just like animated frame by frame
Animating.
by hand.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure it's probably
See-
like 75% hand and 25%.
yeah, so it's probably like a
mocap.
little mix of both with like very outdated mocap equipment.
The lengths they went to still though, considering because you look at games today and stuff, then there'll still be soldiers and stuff falling the same way over and over. Whereas back in the day, they're like, okay, we're gonna change it so if you get shot in the shoulder, they're gonna heel back and hold their arm there, and then if they get shot in the leg, they'll hop. It's stuff like little attention to detail. It's like makes all the difference.
Yeah,
I still.
a lot of people think that death animations in GoldenEye and Perfect Dark are really cheesy, but I love them.
Oh, me too.
Yeah,
Some
I
of
know
them
they're
are,
taking
but
forever
they
to fall
look
to the
great.
ground. Like I can shoot a guy 50 times with a submachine gun, and he still falls on his knees the same way. There's something about that I just love. But
Good stuff.
anywho,
But yeah, the history, the music room, like I just remember sitting in the music room thinking like, oh my god, Dave Wise, Grant Kirkhope, and obviously Robin was there in front of us, but like just those three have all kind of done stuff in here. It's just so cool to think about.
Yeah, I'm never getting rid of the shoes I wore into the studio that day. They walked inside of Rare.
Yeah, I haven't showered since.
Yeah. That's right. Haven't washed my hands since I shook all their hands.
yeah, if you're really committed, you should like get all the skin on the front of your hands removed. Just get it preserved forever.
Get it framed.
And then Amir will collect it.
Yeah. I took a jar of Rare Air, and it's in the collection now.
Nice.
That's so cool.
It's spelled rare, and
I
it just
considered-
has RAI.
RAI.
Did you get a
Rare.
jar of dirt too?
Oh, I know. I forgot the dirt. No,
I saw you
Mandy-
nip into the
Mandy, I
bathroom a
think-
few times.
Mandy got some flowers. I don't know if she's put them in a book or not, but she got a pine cone.
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
Nice.
that's a good idea.
Which, yeah, I don't know if Border Patrol is aware because it said something about no seeds, and I'm pretty sure pine cones are seeds. So,
Yeah, millions of seeds.
oops.
Oh well.
It's gonna be like responsible for an outbreak across America.
Right. British pine tree disease.
Oh God.
Yeah, the British pine trees just take over the entire U.S. and
Invasive species.
they start growing out of roads and no one can get where they need to go.
They're gonna try to colonize the other pine trees and make an empire out of them.
I like to think before the outbreak, like you get a knock on the door one day, it's a Rare employee. They just come in, snatch the pine cone, just glare at you for a second, then just leave.
Yeah.
This belongs here.
Oh man. So, anything else about the trip, guys, or should we move on to E3 and the trailer?
Nah, go on.
Okay. So, yeah, you guys got to be in a trailer. How was that? And I know, well, you, of course, were on the floor, or not on the floor, but in the, whatever they call that.
Media briefing.
Galen
Briefing.
Center. Yeah.
Yeah, the Galen Center. So that's where you were when you saw it. But where were you, Steve? Were you watching it live? And
I was watching it live. I was actually in a Skype call with Mandy, in fact, and a bunch of other people that went on the Rare trip. And Emma was kind of looking at our live reactions as it was revealed to us. So I was talking to some Rare employees after the fact. I don't know if she's shown anyone yet, or at least didn't show the people that I talked to. But she might in the future, which is kind of cool. Or it might become live at some point on YouTube. But yeah, that was really... So she has all like the live action or live reaction of all of us reacting to it. So I was absolutely freaking if you ever see that clip.
Nice. Yeah, I think Mike was mentioning something about that too, that he was on the chat. So that should be cool. I look forward to seeing that. Go ahead.
Something pretty funny about that was, so Daniel and I were at the Xbox Fan Fest on Saturday night in line, and Craig Duncan was there, and so he came up and was talking to us, and Phil Spencer saw Craig, and so he came up, and then he was talking to, like, we were all just talking, and I had said something, so Phil looked my way to start talking to me, and he paused mid-sentence, was like, hey, wait a minute, aren't you the guy from... And then Craig quickly, like, pulled him aside and whispered in his ear, and then Phil just, like, walked away. And everybody around us was like, what just happened? That was, like, super awkward. And so I had just chalked up to maybe that they, like, sent all our pictures to, you know, the Microsoft headquarters, let them know, hey, these people are visiting our studio. So I thought maybe it was from that. But then as the night went on, Daniel and I were wondering, like, I wonder if they're going to use anything of what they filmed from us. But we're like, there's no way. There's no way that's going to happen. So, yeah.
In reality, what he had whispered is, he's going to collect you too!
Run away.
He's got a man-sized trophy case.
He started with the shoes, he just built his way up.
Now he's the head of Xbox. Preserved in like a little flattened and preserved in like a little leaf box.
I'm sorry, Amir.
Oh, you're good. You're good. And then on Monday when we were there on the show or on the media briefing, a couple of the Rare guys had were texting or WhatsApping chat or hi, I think, to find out where we were sitting. And so they could say hi, is what they said. But it was actually so they could find out where we were sitting so they could record our reactions, as some of you might have seen in one of the videos.
Yeah, I saw that reaction video.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Yeah, what was crazy is that, so I don't know, you can see the teleprompter, which says the words they're going to say, like, seconds before they're going to. And I know Steve knows that because they announced Sea of Thieves way before the trailer started last year, too. Like
Athena.
Or, well, let's say Athena. Yeah.
Project Athena,
But,
yeah.
Yeah. So Heil is, like, reading the teleprompter while the rest of us are, like, looking at Craig talking. And he's like, guys, it's happening. They're going to show us. And I'm like, no way, that's not going to happen. And, yeah, it was surreal. It was funny too. After
So awesome.
the show was over and the lights went on, people behind us were like, "Hey, you're those guys from the video." And we're talking to us about Sea of Thieves, and so we got a chance to tell them about everything, and they were like super hyped for the game.
That's awesome.
You're all regular celebrities now.
Amir, who was it? Who was? It was you, Chad, and Heil, and who else was sat with you in the briefing?
John and Daniel. John is from the Crow's Nest.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then Daniel, from Rare FanDaBase.
Yeah, so I'm guessing they didn't actually know about the trip because of the embargo. So, like, that must have been a little bit awkward.
Well,
For
just
sure.
John,
So,
right?
Daniel, John was the only one who didn't know. And I had met up with him the day before for lunch so I could meet him because I never met him before. And, he was sitting there, we were talking about the game. He's like, so it doesn't make any sense that they had that Play It First contest because we know it's going to be at E3, so the people that went on that trip must have gone already. And I was like, oh yeah, like we felt super bad for him that we had to lie to him all the way up until the trailer was shown.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how he was so confused watching it. He was like, wait, I know those voices. And he put it together, like, what in the world? And like as soon as the trailer was done, he's like, you guys have a lot of talking to do.
I felt so bad for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember the days leading up to the media briefing, there was a lot of chat on the DK Vine forum in the Sea of Thieves thread where Jeff, who was it? Can you remember? One of the younger guys on there was saying, "Oh no, they can't be showing Sea of Thieves because Jeff hasn't been to Rare yet." And then
maybe
Rare
Banjo-Kazooie 2, one of them. I don't know.
Oh, I think that was it. Yeah, and you posted and you were like, "Oh yeah, well." Either that or they lied and we're not going to get to play it first.
Yeah. Because then they started coming up with theories. They're like, well, maybe they just meant be among the first to play. Like, they were going, like, fine-tooth comb, like, through everything. They're like, oh, it says be among the first, so I guess the E3 people will get to do it, and then they'll get to go, and blah, blah, blah. I was like, yeah, I'm really disappointed. I was really hoping it would happen before E3. And then, like, as soon as the trailer dropped, I was like, okay, guys, I totally lied. We totally went and played Sea of Thieves.
Like, I don't know why they wouldn't even consider the fact that you guys might have played it and might be under an NDA. 'Cause that's honestly what I probably would have assumed at that point.
I think a lot of the older guys,
like you and I would, but so many
some
people
of the
wouldn't.
younger guys on the forum who just like, just wouldn't think about NDAs, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
Because obviously, I mean, I was one of the few people who actually did know, because obviously me and Jeff met up in Birmingham for a beer, so I had to keep my mouth shut as well, and I was just sitting back laughing at all these posts, like, yeah.
Yeah.
You didn't try and sideshow Bobbit, stick on the bottom of the bus for the drive to Twycross?
Well, I did
I was half
consider
expecting it.
So, because like, yeah, I mean, when I dropped Jeff back, I don't know if you've had a chance to listen to any of the previous episodes, but Alex mentioned a couple of weeks ago how when I dropped Jeff back at the hotel, and then I just walked through the bar, and then I just sort of heard Chad's voice and turn around, and just like all 12 of you were just sat at this table, and I was like, shit. I was so tempted to just be like, hey guys, you got a spare ticket to Rare?
Look, everyone recognized you right away from your video. Like, the people who were like, everyone was like, oh wait, we've seen his video. What the heck? How is he here?
He's another winner.
Yeah.
Oh god, but no, I mean that was that was quite surreal. And then it was like that moment I was like, yeah, I better get out of here.
Well, at least you got to meet Jeff, at least.
Yep.
Had a little party.
Yep.
Jeff is a surprisingly nice man.
Surprisingly.
Well, it's good too, because there was nobody on the trip that rubbed the wrong way with anybody else. Which is
everyone gelled.
Hold on. Sorry about this, guys.
That's all right.
It's all right.
Yeah, it was a really good group. Everyone gelled so nicely. It was really fun.
Yeah, that's what everyone has said. There was never a negative moment. No one ever got pissed at anyone, and it was just kind of a group of like-minded
when you've
people.
Got 12 people from who've never really met. I mean, aside from Chad Heil, Amir, I know you've met the guys a couple of times before, but aside from that, really it was 12 strangers spending 4 days straight together with no break.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible that you all got on. I mean, maybe that just says something about the kind of community that Rare attracts.
Totally.
I think it does,
so.
because I mean, also look online. There's just so many awesome people, that we tweet with every day. The Rare community is amazing. The Sea of Thieves forum, I can't get over how I'm enjoying that forum a lot. There's a ton of excited, enthusiastic people, and everyone's just so nice and supportive of people's ideas and speculation. The Rare community is just awesome right now.
Yeah, I really need to get back on that forum. I signed up and I've posted a couple of times, but I keep, to be honest, it sounds bad, but I keep forgetting it's there because I'm always on Twitter and DK Vine. There's just so much to keep up with at the moment.
Yeah, I know. I have a hard time keeping up with everything.
Yeah, and there hasn't been like a rare form since the nuts and bolts one, I don't think. Like, so it's pretty weird that they have their own form again, for a game.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, everything seems so positive. I mean, there's still negativity towards Rare, but it seems like it's mostly outside now. Like, I know there was all that thing. You guys got paid to be excited, and all those people.
My favorite part of E3 with there was tons of my favorite parts, but like one of the great things was getting to see people play the game firsthand and reacting exactly how we did. Like, out of all the games on the show floor, none had as much commotion as a Sea of Thieves. Like, people were either yelling and screaming because their ship was sinking or they were sinking the ship. Like,
Yeah, for sure.
just so much laughter. Like, people were just saying this is like the most fun they've had playing a game at E3. Like, it was really cool.
It's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad that everyone seems to be coming around. I think even more people will now once they actually get their hands on it. I mean, I haven't played it yet, but I'm so excited for it just to even hear you guys describe it. I'm like, this many people can't be having this reaction without this being something really special.
Yeah. I mean, walking around E3, from my perspective, it had the second longest line after Zelda, which is
That's what most people have said.
awesome.
Yeah,
I mean,
I was just talking about that last episode, how it's so bizarre that like the two most sort of talked about games on the floor this year was a Rare Nintendo game.
Yeah.
I'm like,
people waited, like, I think the line got to 3.5 hours, 4 hours long.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a long time to wait for a game.
That's insane. It's half your day.
it's awesome.
It's crazy.
It's like, Rare's back,
I'm
guys.
really hoping the lines aren't that long at EGX, like, because I'm going to hit up EGX later this year in Birmingham, and I'm guessing Sea of Thieves will be there because it's so close to Rare.
I would
I just
think so. I don't
hope
know.
the lines aren't that long. I remember last year when I went and like the Halo 5 line was like 3 hours.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's gonna be like that.
Well, if you
'Cause,
get
I mean,
a
what else
passage
is
into
there?
Germany, you can always go to Gamescom, because I think they're hitting up that. Like, they haven't made any official word on it, but they have every single year for like 5 years running, so they might.
Yeah, no, I mean I would have done that, but I'm a little bit broke for the summer. I kind of
okay.
already spent all my vacation money. Whereas EGX, like obviously I live like 15 miles from Birmingham, and it's a couple months away as well.
Right.
So, like, and it's also cheaper as well. It's only like $20 per day or something, and then
It's not
you can
bad
get
at
a
all.
Yeah,
That's
you
awesome.
can get a cheap hotel, like, because it's right next to Birmingham Airport, and there's the Ibis Hotel, budget hotel next to the airport, and it's like £35 a
yeah.
night or something for a single room.
Wow.
So
Damn, that's awesome.
Yeah, it should be a pretty cheap trip. Whereas if I go to Germany, yeah, I could get some cheap flights, but it's just my travel when I'm there, and German hotels are a bit more expensive, and Gamescom itself costs more. So maybe next year.
Yeah.
So
No, what,
Maybe one day.
what blows my mind about this game and just that people's reactions to it is just how much more there is to it, based on what we've seen in like the trailers and what they've kind of just talked about in, this E3 demo is just such a small part of it, and everybody just went crazy for it. So it's like, I can't imagine what this like fully realized, fully fleshed out version that, that they're clearly working towards is going to be like. Like, it's so exciting.
Yeah, no, there was, I can't remember who it was, if it was Joe Need or Greg Miles, but they were saying how they're even planning to be some quests and objectives that, they have not even showed or talked about at all yet. So that, you can kind of, for people who that's what they want to do, they want to, acquire things and complete objectives, they can do that, or you can just, sink ships or just explore forever.
Yeah.
And
The
now
thing
they
that's-
want it to be kind of something for, whoever you want to play the game, you'll be able to play it that way.
Yeah. The thing that really excites me too is the fact that if you had released just a standalone version of what they had us demo, which was just the ship stuff, and that's it. If that was the whole game and it was just called Ship Blow Up or something like that, that would still be wicked fun. So the fact that that's just a small portion of a much bigger game is really making me really hopeful.
Yeah, really. I
definitely.
mean, that's a good point. Like, that really could just be its own, like, kind of whatever they call it now, but like Xbox Live Arcade style game where, it's ship battle royale and have different locations and different types of ships, and you could make a whole game out of that. And it's that's literally just the tip of the iceberg. It's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's like the Grand Theft Auto comparison, where, like, I mean, imagine back in 2001, if they'd have just had a playable demo of driving around Liberty City, blowing each other's cars up.
Right.
Like, that alone would be really fun. But
Yeah.
like everything on top of that, and I guess it's the same with Sea of Thieves. You know, it's from what we can tell, it's going to be such an open world with such varied objectives and possibilities.
Mhm.
You know.
Yeah. Oh, can't wait for whenever that beta gets announced.
Find me some buried treasure.
Exactly.
We're talking about a little bit too last episode about like the possibility of Easter eggs. And
Oh, I was just going to mention that.
Yeah, like just imagine the type of things we're going to be able to find in the big open world. Like, I just know there's going to be references.
Yeah.
Aplenty.
Gotta be.
I want to see a fully fledged version of Treasure Trove Cove, because that would be amazing.
That would be
That'd be
so
awesome.
cool.
Just have it as like one of the
That'd be
random
awesome.
islands, like, yeah, here it is, and you go, wait a minute, this is familiar.
Mm. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
I really wouldn't be surprised, or even if it's just like maybe a slightly scaled down version, but with the same basic geometry.
Mhm.
Like,
Hmm.
it makes perfect sense because Treasure Trove Cove as an isle is completely, well, from my understanding, it's disconnected from the Isle of Hag Spiral Mountain area because it's like waterlocked, isn't it? It's just an
Mhm.
island.
Yeah.
You can't see any land, you know. So, yeah, they could canonically throw it in there if they really wanted to.
They could. They could
Even
put
just a name drop, put like Sharkfoot Island somewhere as an island. Doesn't
That
have to
would be
even be
fun.
the
Or they
same
could
one.
just put the entirety of the Isle of Hags in the middle of the sea.
Just playing through
that
banjo.
would be cool. Just like retexture it.
Yeah.
Could have a Gorilla Head Island and Crocodile Mechanical Crocodile Island.
And this cease and desist is from Nintendo. Yeah,
And Pants Land. We need Pants Land somewhere.
for sure. Yahar, it's me. Hello, everybody. Sinking your ship.
Nice.
Except it's got a pirate hat instead of a bowler hat. Just driving around in his underpants.
Oh god. That's what we'll
Look at
celebrate
those.
for Pants Day is Pants Land.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really hoping. Did any of you guys see Cameron Regal from DK Vine last year? He made a really beautiful map of the Rare Archipelago.
Yep, I have
Yep.
a copy actually.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah. I'm apparently now. Yeah, it was last year. Chad said they gave a copy to, I think it was Greg Mayles
Yep.
on the show floor.
I can
And he
confirm
was
that.
talking on the conversation how like Greg was just staring at it for 15 minutes with like his mouth wide open, like in awe that someone had done this, you know, as a fan. And like I mean it's been a year since I've listened to that episode, but I think he said like he was overwhelmed by how much stuff he forgot that they'd actually done in terms of like all the worlds they created. So
Chain of
I mean,
islands.
that may have inspired them to drop a few of the islands, you know, in
hope
the
so.
ones they still own, obviously.
Yeah.
I hope so. It would be so cool. That would be a
Yeah.
really cool tribute.
Because they're going to do Treasure Trove Cove, the Connect Sports Rivals Island. What else could they do? They have
Timber-
rights
Timber
to,
Island?
I think. Pardon?
Well, I don't know. That's kind of a great territory, isn't it?
Yeah.
Timber Island,
Island,
yeah.
Yeah, that's a little bit.
Yeah.
That's too, yeah, because it was in Diddy Kong Racing DS still, which is.
Mm.
Yeah.
I hate the
Legal minefield.
But I'm sure there'll be stuff.
Could
Yeah.
There's
come
got
across
to at
Carrington
least be
Villa,
a
perhaps.
spinal. Yeah, there's got to at least be a spinal reference with all these skeletons rocking around.
Right, or Mr. Ribs.
Maybe Mr. Bones and Spinal will be on the same crew together and they'll show up.
Mr. Ribs.
And
Diddly-doo.
Mr. Ribs, yeah.
Diddly-doo, fire, diddly-doo.
Or maybe we can see Mr. Ribs before he died, when he was still, flesh and bone.
First
And
mate
he's an
Ribs.
actual pirate, and then maybe he'll
Like, he,
die
speaks
and then
like-
become Mr. Ribs and go and
Yeah.
grab the Ghoulies game.
Ribs the
I don't
cabin
know.
boy.
My name is Jonathan Ribs.
Jonathan Ribs.
The slightly effeminate pirate.
Yeah.
Ooh, ooh.
Fire.
Oh man. Cool. So, I think we pretty much covered all that we set out to cover initially. Is there anything else you guys want to say or talk about before we call it a day?
I don't know. You guys have covered a ton in the past couple, having the other rare visitors on there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know we're really just beating a dead horse at this point, but as I said, I don't want to stop.
It's good to get everybody's impressions, though.
We get
Yeah.
we get new tidbits each time
Yeah,
and
and
new
it's like,
perspectives.
I think
it's
it's
great.
such an important thing to document as well as we can, and having as many people as we can, we have like a reference point, for the future. That if anyone
Totally.
wants to learn about this trip, we have this, 4 or 5 episodes you can go listen to. I'm not even counting, of course, DK Vine's like 5 hours worth of stuff and.
Yeah.
They just
Well,
uploaded the part 2 episode last night. I listened through it. Hilarious as always, and they do a really good job of recapturing stuff because there's things that they'll talk about. I go, oh yeah, I forgot about that. Oh.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely happy to be
I
part.
got that stuff like a month ago because I'm a Patreon. They released it like E3
yeah.
weeks on Patreon.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm a Patreon too, so I got it then. But I still haven't listened to it all yet. I started listening to it at work, and then I just get interrupted by something, and then I never started again.
They have the excellent Robin Beanland anecdote about Watery Lane in there, which is one of my top memories as well. So definitely give that a
Oh
listen.
yeah, that was a brilliant. Yeah. I won't retell it on here. Just go check it out. Definitely.
Yeah. That's English humor at its finest, I think. Just quick, snappy, to the point, just witty.
Yep. Well, I will actually have to finish listening to their stuff at some point.
Yeah, no, I'm behind because I'm just getting the.
I think I'm about an hour and a half done with all of their content for the trip. And I just probably got like 2.5 hours more.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's hard
Lots to hear, and then plus Pirate Port Radio's got their couple takes, plus Emma and Cameron and Bobby were on it last week, so there's tons to catch up on for
Indeed
all
there
of that.
are.
Just to let you guys know, my laptop suddenly downloading updates, and it's going to restart when it's done.
No.
So
Dun, dun,
How much time we got?
if you guys want to carry on, I can just drop out now, or if you want to wrap it up, that's up to you guys.
Well, we're about an hour and a half in.
I'd say
so
we
it's
could
probably
probably
a good point to wrap up.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, good chance if so if you guys just want to give a big little self plug to yourself, and then just kind of say goodbye, and then we'll call it good.
Sure.
You can go for this one, Steve.
Ready?
Oh, we're not doing
Steve.
it alphabetically anymore? Okay. If you guys like reading 5 of stuff, then raregamer.co.uk is definitely the place to go. I tried to do a top 5 at least once every month. I'm going to try and improve it and make a few more. I just did a Sea of Thieves one recently, so if you're interested in seeing the top 5 pirates that you'll probably be in Sea of Thieves, that's the place you want to check out. We got more reviews coming up. We're going to be doing a live Sea of Thieves thing as that comes out, so that'll be interesting to see. And yeah, just, Rare's back and we're all for it, so... That's our.
And Amir, go.
Yeah, so like I mentioned, I'm with Daniel Rare FanDaBase, and that's more like a constant news updating. But if you're into older stuff, unreleased stuff, check out Rare Thief, and hopefully this year I have something big coming if all works out. So yeah, look forward to that. Yeah, but yeah, the trip was surreal. I still can't believe it happened. It was so awesome getting to meet everybody, the people that went on the trip, and the Rare employees. And thank you for having me and Steve on the show. This has been awesome. The community, like I've never felt more a part of the community than these past couple of years.
Absolutely.
Sometimes it's been lonely, and like before the internet, you felt like you were the only Rare fan. If your friends weren't into it either. So this has definitely been the best time to be a Rare fan with how much voice the community's had and how much voice Rare's had back to us, the communication. So, yeah, I'm super excited.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure to have you guys on, and you're definitely right. I've never seen the Rare community like this, because even sort of in the Rare community's heyday, like technology and social media, everything weren't the way it was then. For everything, the way you can just communicate with Rare and with other fans is just, there's never been a better time for the Rare community to come back than right now. And it's just been really great seeing it come back, and then even me myself being a part of it, which is something I always wanted to do, but really didn't know how to go about doing it back in the old days. So it's great to have this site and podcast and talk to all of you guys with your sites and your videos and everything. It's been amazing.
Absolutely, yeah. And thanks again for having us. And yeah, huge kudos to Rare for organizing this entire thing. 'Cause from the get-go, if you look at it on paper, I mean, it is a nightmare. It's like we're, for the first time, bringing in fans while we're making a game at a completely undercover thing that they could completely ruin if they wanted to. Like, everything about it spells disaster, but I'm so glad everybody was really tight-lipped and everything went completely according to plan.
Really impressed with the community for, like, you know, keeping it under their chest, and the fact that Rare had enough faith in the community to trust them like that, you know?
Right.
Yeah, they
It's like
mentioned
the only thing
multiple
that didn't
times.
leak.
Yeah, Sea of Thieves was the only one that didn't leak from the Microsoft conference, pretty much. But yeah, they mentioned multiple times that Microsoft was like, "Are you guys crazy? You want to invite like 16 randos to your studio weeks before E3? Like, what?"
Yep, that's. I understand where they're coming from, but it's really great that they must. I got the feeling that they probably fought, not really fought, but you know they were on our side for Microsoft, and they probably presented our case. Well, I'm saying I wasn't actually there, but you know the
The community.
The community,
Yeah,
they put in the community's sort of case that these guys are been with us for this long. We can trust these guys, and that's kind of a cool thought to think about.
Yeah, and it's pretty unprecedented. Like, people have been invited to play games before, but they're usually like pro players, like pro Halo players got to play Halo 5, a year ago, like before it came out, but this was just fans, who showed how enthusiastic they were, for the studio and Sea of Thieves. Like, none of us are pro players or anything like that,
Right. So, yeah, thank you, Rare.
Yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, they've really, just brought a lot of people into my life that I never would have met otherwise. And,
Yep.
Without them, we wouldn't all be talking here. I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing, and you guys wouldn't be doing what you're doing. So it's great that they've helped create this, So, yeah, that's all I have to say. Jeff, Kev, anything you want to say before we call it good?
No, it's great. It was great hearing their voices again, and glad to have them back, or glad to have you guys on the show with us, and thank you, Rare.
Yeah, for sure.
Thank you, Rare. Hopefully we'll see you all on the Sea of Thieves.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
Kevin,
Oh
did you
yeah,
have
for
something?
sure.
I'll be the one sinking your ship.
I knew it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
and
and from my end as well, I just want to say, thanks to you guys for coming on. It's been a pretty crazy month. I think between the first one we did like 4 weeks ago, and now we've had is it 3 winners, 4 super fans, and Mandy. So yeah, it's been a crazy month for guest stars. We're just a heads up for next week. We're thinking about maybe doing one more to cap it off. So it's been kind of like a month of Rare Trip experiences. We're not going to talk about who might be coming on just yet, but yeah, stay tuned. And if you're completely bored of the Rare Trip viewers or listeners, just suck it up. It's only another week.
Good advice.
there you go.
Good advice for life.
Hashtag deal with it. All right, so I guess thank you all for being on, and have a great weekend, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, thanks very
with
much.
More mysterious, you're welcome. With more mysterious interviewees, possibly.
Ooh.
You can do math
Bye,
and figure
everyone.
out who it could be. So, have a good day.
Thanks, yes.